centuries of dust on me. It's the only thing holding me together.
Hello everybody, this is my review of Headless Help. Without further ado, let's get into the review. That rhymed, that's cool. Okay, so first I will start with talking about motion, which you saw in the first segment. I'm going to go ahead and just have them on silent mode and just show them motion. So, as you can see, this is all his motion is. He blinks, which are both on cue. They blink at the same time, thankfully. And he moves his jaw up and down. And as you can see, mouth doesn't close that much. His eye, the blinking effect looks pretty nice. Though, I wish they would have had something else instead of him blinking, because the blinking is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of irrelevant. Nobody really pays attention to that. I wish instead they would have had him either twist, kind of like a ton of other props. He twists side to side, and I think it would have been cooler if they had the head kind of swing on his hand. As you can see, this mouth does not close that much. I can slide my finger in there. I think it should close nearly all the way, being that's half his motion is his mouth. But I feel like they could have done a lot more with this. It feels very static. I mean, it works well as a static because it has no motion, but mine works. So, I'm gonna have to give this guy 4 out of 10 for motion. I mean, the blinking is cool, but the mouth movement, which is half of it, isn't even that good. Talk about the design. The design of this guy, I kind of like it, actually. So for a butler animatronic, I think it works well. Only aspect, though, that has no hip ring. So, that's why they have it, is because a lot of times the clothes will just, sink in. So I'm gonna have to iron it, and I'll put pictures of it if I do iron it. The shirt and the pants. I'm not sure if this is good enough to be ironed. I think it's 100% polyester. It feels super low quality. I mean, it's not supposed to be something you'd wear, so the quality of the clothes doesn't matter that much. They look pretty nice though. I really like the color though. Instead of it just being a regular suit, it's like a light blue gray. And then this is just gray, like a light gray. I think the colors is really nice, and I think those two work well together. And then the white accents on the hands, you can't see it on this one, but it's there. I think work really well. So, and then I do I think typically with something like this, I would expect gore, but since it's such a professional thing, it's a butler, it shouldn't have, normally, I'd want gore dripping down here. I want there to be look like sort of the end of a mask, it's just have a bunch of flappy skin that's all bloodied and maybe a chunk of spine or something. But I think that it's just flat. It's professional because it's a butler. It looks good. I like it. Not a ton of improvements they could have done on the design except for that hip ring and some internal stuff to make it look more structured. So I'm gonna give it a 9 for design. It's pretty decent. Next category is detail. So one thing I will say, mine's hand is kind of messed up. I think what I'm going to have to do is take a heat gun to it because it's kind of caved in right here. So I'll take a heat gun and try to push it back. Hopefully it'll work. But one thing I want to talk about with the detail is the eyes. You can't really see it very well. Oh no, you can. He actually does have eyes. And it looks like it's just covered in cataracts. I'm glad they didn't make his eyes glow because that would look stupid. So that's a good detail. I like that a lot. The clothes, I like that they're not super dirty or anything. They're just kind of dark and dusty looking, which is pretty nice. The hands also look pretty good. They don't look perfect, but they're pretty good. It does look like there's actually nails there, even though there's not. And then the skin, his skin actually does look like it's old. He could have used more wrinkles, I think, but I think it looks pretty good. The shoes, though, they did a good job with these shoes. It's not something you'd pay much attention to, but these are actual leather shoes, or rubber, but they look like leather. Dress shoes. And I think they did a good job on that instead of just doing, a black piece of plastic, like how they have the same carbon cut clown shoes for every single animatronic. They gave him something different. Good idea, Spirit. I like that. The detail for this one, not really anything that they could have missed, honestly. I think it's very well detailed. I think the only thing they could have done better is if I get him to move again, is the eyelids, which just don't look good at all. And then maybe he should have painted his eyebrows, like, you know how they have it here. They should have given him actual eyebrows coloring instead of just making it, oh, he's got eyebrows, because it doesn't look like he has eyebrows. And then also down here, the way that the latex is stretched is kind of not that good looking. But he's pretty solid on detail. Not a whole lot of issues, so I'm gonna give him an 8 out of 10 for detail. I'm gonna talk about setup. Setup on this guy is very simple. So he's YJ, but his setup is really similar to SVI. Picture of him without all the clothes and stuff on, just so you can see what he looks like bare bones. Like that's super helpful is how big this gap is. So with the coat, it's kind of small, but that gap in the shirt is like all the way from the top all the way to the bottom, which is really helpful because, you know, you have to take this one wire, which I'll see if I can catch it. There it is. That wire, you have to take that wire from the control box all the way through this arm and down to here where it connects to the top of the head, which is it's really annoying. I'm not gonna lie. It doesn't ruin the prop or anything. It's just annoying to deal with, especially with this arm in the way. And sometimes it stretches this out so you can see it, and it's a little hard to hide, but it's not that bad. So come on. And stretching or threading these arms through the holes through the holes in the jacket is pretty difficult also. Overall though, really simple. It literally took me like less than 5 minutes to put together. So I'm gonna have to give it a 9 out of 10. Just because, you know, there's some slight annoyances, but it's so quick to put together. I'm going to talk about the price. The price for this guy now, $230. I think is a little unreasonable. Like, okay, he does have blinking eyes. I don't think any other spirit animatronic has that. That's pretty cool. $230 is a bit pricey, but I think it should be $200. But since it comes with a microphone, I think adding that $30 is justified. So for price, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10 also. Now, of course, I will have to note that since this guy came out 3 years ago and you haven't been able to get him for 3 years, his price is no longer gonna be $230. I might sell mine for $230. I don't know. You know, offer. I don't care. Anyways, I think you're not going to be able to find this guy for that price anymore. I think what I would estimate him to be is probably like $250 to $300. I think if you find him for under $200, should you buy him? It's really up to you. If you like Butler props, I would say he's probably one of the better ones out there. Actually, probably one of the best Butler props out there. Of course, I'm not really I don't have an expertise in Halloween Butler animatronics, but I would say from what I've seen, he's pretty cool. And I would prefer him over any of the ones that I've seen, at least, because you know he's very unique. He's not just a guy in a suit and he's balding. He's got his head cut off and he's got eye and mouth movements, which is really nice. You know, so should you buy it? Really, it depends on your opinion. If you like Butler props, buy him. If you don't, then I wouldn't personally, because this guy doesn't have the value to warrant that purchase. I mean, unless you see him for like $50 or something, then buy him for sure. But if you see any spirit animatronic for like $50, it probably either doesn't work or it's a huge steal. So with the score a 4 out of 10 in motion, so with a score of 4 out of 10 in motion, a score of 9 out of 10 in design, a score of 8 out of 10 in detail, and a score of 9 out of 10 in setup, and finally a score of 10 out of 10 in price, I think is what I put it at. I don't know. I'll double check. That would give us a total value of... One thing I decided for design, this thing looks really flat from the side. So I'm going to have to deduct some points for that. So it's getting a 7 out of 10 for design, and the price, I mean, $200 isn't really, even with the microphone, doesn't justify such a small amount of motion. So I'm also going to drop that down to a 7. That being said, that puts his motion at a 4 out of 10, his design at a 7 out of 10, detail at a 8 out of 10, his setup at a 9 out of 10, and his price at a 7 out of 10, which would bring our final score to, gives us a 35 out of 50 or a 70%, which is a C minus. Yeah, that's the, and then yeah, just put that part, you know what to do, I'm stupid.